What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, I'm back. I'm going to keep it real with you. You're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to touch the most pressing issue today, the war between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and then I'm going to press on some things that I think you need to see. I'm going to ask you again to hit the like button, hit the damn button. I ain't about to beg y'all no more. Either y'all going to hit this button or y'all not. That's on you, but I'm going to keep it moving. It's important for the algorithm that you do it. It's an honor to me for the work that I do for you, but it's your choice at the end of the day. Watch this. I need you to understand what's coming down the pipeline. I'm going to pose a question to you at the very beginning of this video as I go through it, and I need everyone to answer in the comments, man. Don't just take time and just type the first thing that comes to mind when I pose this question to you. All right, let's get this video rolling. Hold on one second. We're about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dog Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we're doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back. And boy, oh boy, are we in for it now. The top story of the day is Elon Musk versus Donald J. Trump. It is a war of two titans, and it is a terrible, terrible thing for the United States of America. But real quickly, let me go over the things that I'm going to cover in this video so you'll know what you're about to hear. I am going to cover the rise of Islam inside of the United States of America, the targeting of the city of New York, the same way that London was targeted. I am going to cover probably one of the most important stories that is going on right now, which is the progression to all-out destruction of Ukraine, which, in my opinion, Zelensky should be destroyed. And then I'm going to pontificate and give you my opinion on what's happening here. And I think I'll start with what you probably want to hear now, everybody's talking about this. And I have a different take on it. So let's just go to this now and then work our way backwards, if that's okay with you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats. Here we go. President Trump said Elon was wearing thin, so he asked him to leave. Elon Musk responds with a taunt about Epstein files, and Trump zings. Now, I don't need to read all this to you because I'm pretty sure that you, as the highly intelligent audience that you are, that you already know about this and you've been watching this transpire most likely real time. But I want to bring something to your attention. In fact, I should read this. And I want you to tell me what stands out about everyone's statements. Let me see. Let's go here. It looks like it's working backwards. 3 hours ago, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months what I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Elon Musk responds, "This just gets better and better. Go ahead, make my day." Then he comes back. Time to drop the real bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason why they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Then Donald comes back and says, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill does not pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I did not create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again," Trump said on Truth Social. All right. Let's, just for a second, what do you hear? What are those words from these men? What about the words? What's the spirit behind all of the words? I'll give you a second to think. Doom, 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 doom. And I need you to comment. Comment what the spirit is behind this engagement. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Boo doo 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 doo. Bum, Boom, 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 boom. Anybody? Somebody said ego. I'm pretty sure the first thing that came to people's mind is ego. I'll give you a hint. What month did we just enter? We just entered Pride Month. We literally just entered Pride Month. And everything that's going on right here is pride. Yep. The good old-fashioned Leviathan of pride. There was a prophet that came out about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and she prophesied. She said, hey, she asked people to pray against the spirit of pride that will whisper into the ears of the people inside of the White House. And that Donald Trump was being challenged or tried to move from David to being like a Saul, right? It was my David is being tempted to become Saul. Pray for my David, right? And it makes all the sense in the world. Now, somebody may say, well, GW, you know, Donald Trump not being, no, they both being prideful. And they both being acting like freaking children. And when you really extrapolate this and you think about the implications of this, and just so you can see a fraction of everything that's going on in the world, this truly is a fraction of all the things that are going on. And over here, we have this pride. I'm just going to put pride there. And the next thing I'll say is, what does the Bible say about pride? It's fabulous because it's pride. And I don't mean pride from the whatchamajinkum standpoint. I just mean pride. It doesn't necessarily say that pride comes before the fall. It says pride comes before destruction, not the fall, destruction. And so what it means is every time you see the spirit of pride rise up, there is something that is destroyed. And in your life, ladies and gentlemen, if you look around, anytime you ever found yourself being prideful in a relationship, that relationship was destroyed. Anytime pride comes in, something's destroyed, and that is a spiritual law. So the issue is what's about to be destroyed if this proceeds to move forward. And when I look at the board, it's terrifying because the conversations are going to kind of point in a direction. Now, here's my opinion. And this is my opinion fully. You see, nobody's been able to blacken Donald Trump's eye. And I find it mighty weird that when symbolically and spiritually, right before Elon left, he came in with a blackened eye. Nobody's had the opportunity to blacken the eye of Donald Trump. Think about it. This whole entire time, they've been trying to put him in prison. They tried to assassinate him. They tried to do all these things, and he just rose above it. This is an attack that, and to be clear, this is a spirit of pride that's attacking, and it's coming from both sides. This is an attack from a realm that has the potential to not only blacken his eye, but put blood in the water for the sharks. And I want you to notice something. You're going to watch how the Democrats go quiet because they're smart enough to shut up because they're wicked. They're going to go quiet and they're going to kind of pour gasoline on the fire. But if we really have been paying attention to all the events that went on, I'm going to show you how these things tie in together. If you really have been paying attention to the events, then you realize that something's been wrong in the White House for about 3 weeks. It really became evident here. It became evident with this series of events. Trump just recently had a conversation with Putin, right? But prior to that, Donald Trump was saying that, you know, he was disappointed in Vladimir Putin because Vladimir Putin came out and bombed buildings inside of Kiev. And people in the media started signaling to Donald that, no, hold on, Donald. They bombed his Russian bombers. So it was clear based upon Donald Trump's statements that he got that information late. Now let's keep it even more real. There were people in the news today. I may be able to find that. I hate deviating from the plan. But I might be able to find it. Give me a second. I might have bookmarked it. There were people in the news, in American news, bragging about how good the strike was on no, I didn't save it. But they were bragging about how good the strike was on and well coordinated the strike was on Russia. They went so far as to say, ladies and gentlemen, that I probably should play a video for those people who are attention span challenged. But I'm going to say this, then I'll find a video to play. They were saying that the strike deep within Russia required extreme coordination. So it took them to have assets on the ground inside of Russia. Those assets had to get the drone parts, put them together. Get the drone parts, ship them deep into Russia in shipping containers. So they had to acquire the shipping containers, get the parts together, get them in the shipping containers, get them deep into Russia, assemble them in the shipping containers, open the shipping containers, launch the drones, strike the targets. And when we think about Zelensky and the Ukrainian army, there is no freaking way that the cokehead Zelensky was able to pull that off on his own. Going back to what I was saying about Donald Trump being in the dark. So clearly he was in the dark. Clearly there were forces in the CIA who were involved in it. And so then he has this conversation with Vladimir Putin where he has to eat crow. And I don't think people understand this. Let's go to what's being said here in Breitbart. Trump talks with Putin. Not a good conversation that will lead to immediate peace deal. I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes. We discussed the attack on Russia, docked planes by Ukraine, and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that would lead to immediate peace. President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to recent attacks on airfields. So what we can surmise from this conversation was Donald said, hey, man, is there any kind of way we can get to peace? Or Donald I'm going to have to respond to these attacks. I can't allow them to attack my nuclear bombs and missiles. And then they discussed, most likely the two of them discussed America's role and what happened. You notice there was no, I'm disappointed in him, I'm going to put sanctions on him. There was none of that. Nothing. None of that. Nothing at all. Now, today looks like this came out. It's the day the 5th. Today the 5th, this came out. It takes two to tango. Trump threatens both Russia and Ukraine with sanctions if they torpedo peace talks. So now he's threatening Ukraine with sanctions. He was only threatening Russia with sanctions, and that's on a tail end of him having this conversation with Vladimir Putin, which tells me that, okay, that conversation with Vladimir Putin didn't go well at all. It didn't go well at all, but it makes sense. Now, the premise of my conversation is, or the point I was making is that he was kept in the dark. And it makes all the sense in the world that he was kept in the dark. But when you go back to him being kept in the dark, it had to start prior to that moment of that attack. Because he had to be kept in the dark of the planning of the attack. Imagine, this is the most important negotiation on the planet to stop World War III. And the most powerful man on the planet is not aware of the fact, via his State Department or his Department of Homeland Security or CIA or DARPA or anybody. This is the same man who said, don't mess with us. We have unstoppable super weapons. You gotta think this through. And so that whole entire time, let's say it did take them 3 weeks to organize this. So for 3 weeks, you were kept in the dark about everything that was going on. So then we get to the point to where the bombs hit. And Zelensky comes to the understanding that, no, based on Donald Trump's talking points, that nope, I'm not helping you. And then Zelensky says he wants peace. Live, exclusive. Learn why Zelensky is begging for a ceasefire after Trump discovered that Ukrainian dictator double-crossed him. It doesn't, in my personal opinion, I don't know why we're still dealing with him. Any man that will come to your house and sit on your sofa and disrespect you, you should not be dealing with. And I know we want to stop the war, but of course he's going to double-cross you. There's no doubt about it. Then we get to the point to where he moves from double-crossing them, and this is RT News, so it's going to have their own spin on it, but we have to go get some of their propaganda to see what's being said. Zelensky takes apparent dig at Trump. The Ukrainian leader questioned the value of peace talks when the powerful failed to be tough with Russia. That is a dig at Donald Trump. So now he's taking a shot at Donald Trump, and the only reason why he would take this kind of shot is, quite frankly, is, again, if somebody came over there and reassured him. Now, we know all this started off with Lindsey Graham, if I'm not mistaken, and the other guy going over there. And then the last piece of news that signals exactly what's coming: Pentagon redirects missile components from Kiev to own forces. The Pentagon has redirected key missile components originally intended for Ukraine's air defense to American forces in the Middle East. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday, citing a confidential notification sent to Congress last week. The move comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has been winding down support for Ukraine since entering office. So now their missile defenses are getting pulled away from them. And we're behind. I think the point I'm making, and I'm trying to get across to you, is we are seeing the manifestation of things that happened probably, let's just give it 30 days ago. We're seeing these things manifest now, right? There was a conflict that happened between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and then it manifested itself during Pride Month. I'm not saying that this just happened. I'm saying that it was like it was bubbling up. You know what I'm saying? You know how you pour a nice some champagne into a bottle of champagne into a glass, and it starts to bubble up, boo, 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 and if you keep pouring, eventually it bubbles over. We're seeing the bubbling over at this point in time because you didn't see the bubble. We don't have enough information to see the bubble. Quite frankly, naturally, what happens next to Ukraine is bombs over Baghdad, and they're going to be shaking just like this. They're going to be shaking just like that. Bombs over Baghdad. Yeah. And when I tell you that what Russia has to do to respond to this, it's going to be vicious. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. And really, let's put ourselves in Vladimir Putin's shoes for a second. I have a whole nation that's behind me. I have a whole nation where people are dying. I have a nation that's fine with war. The Russian people are fine with war. They remember the wars that they've been through. And the nation they vowed that they will never go through that again. They're not necessarily war hungry. They don't want to die, but they will kill you, right? And so for 4 months, I've been being hammered by the President of the United States to try and come to the negotiating table, right? I start moving towards the table. And every time I move towards what he says, he can't deliver because of his deep state. And let's just keep it real. He can't deliver because of the deep state. Lindsey Graham, Senator Blumenthal. So here's Vladimir Putin sitting there saying, hey, man, on the phone, if I'm on the phone with Donald, I'm saying, listen, Donald, I want to work this out, but my friend, you can't deliver anything. Your house is not in order. Them people came over here and met with him, and then he attacked me. Your house is not in order. And you had a Democrat and a Republican come together, the deep state, right wing, left wing, same bird, go to meet Zelensky, and then they attacked the man. And they attacked his nation. So if we're in Putin's shoes at this point in time, there's no sense in talking to Donald Trump. You can sanction me all you want. If I'm on the phone with him, he said, well, if you guys keep on going, I'm going to sanction you. Fine. If you're going to sanction me, you might as well sanction Zelensky. If not, I'm going to war with you. Because it was your army, your Central Intelligence Agency that did it. And so now we get the conversation where I'm going to sanction both parties. Okay. That don't matter to me at this point in time. If I'm Putin, it don't matter. I don't care. Sanction all the hell you want. I tell you what you're going to find out is when I move against these people, I'm going to devastate them. Because, see, I need to prove a point to everybody at this point in time. The point is, this is not David versus Goliath, where you come over here and chop off the head of Goliath. And that's what they're trying to make Zelensky's story to be, a David versus Goliath story. Well, Zelensky is more of a I don't know, of a damn Ukrainian homosexual Big Bird, miniature Big Bird character, a Sesame Street character, a man who was dancing around on stage with tights on, looking like a damn fool. Everybody in Russia knows that. And so even the attack against Russia actually is a dig that digs up pride. I mean, like, okay, we're going to just let this little nobody, this patsy, this proxy, just mess over all our stuff? Nah, because America's behind them and because the UK's behind them. Oh, we're going to do that even though the UK letting people take over the UK and rape and pillage their women? Nah, bro, we got to bust a move. And so I anticipate this attack being utterly devastating and violent and swift, and they're signaling it because the only reason why they're saying publicly that I'm going to have to respond, and the reason why the U.S. came out and said, hey, to the U.S. citizens there, you might want to leave and, take shelter, is because they don't want no excuses. You're not going to be able to come back and say, well, Vladimir Putin just attacked the civilians and it's a war crime. No, he's telling you he coming. And I need you to understand think about what that means. I'm serious. Think about what it means. When a dude, let me just bring it home to you. You got your house where you be chilling, you bump into a dude on the street, and y'all get into a little scuffle. Bing, ding, 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 ding. Bang. You hit him. He clock you. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all see each other. Y'all scuffle again. Boom, 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 boom. Then he just chilling. He with his old lady out there chilling. You come and sneak him. Boom, knock him out. Embarrass him. And now his old lady afraid. His kids afraid. Everybody in fear. You the big bad guy. Then he says, I'm coming to see you. What? I'm coming to see you. The simple fact that he announced the fact that he's coming to see you, and he cut from that cloth. The simple fact that he announced that he coming to see you is what he means. What he's coming with is way more than he knows you can handle. Ain't no idiot telling you they're coming to see you and they not bringing that smoke. So you can anticipate him bringing smoke. I'm talking about fire and brimstone. We already seen the missiles that look like something off the movie Close Encounters of Another Kind. Just foof, 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 foof. And remember, he did that just to prove a point. And he said, this is Putin, he said, you don't have anything that can stop our missiles. Then he proceeded not to use the missiles, using some drones. Remember? Y'all remember that? He showed what he had and then proceeded not to use it. I'm thinking guy's name was Orban, which is not Orban. Lavrov. Lavrov was the one doing all the talking. And now they just went quiet. Now they ain't saying much of nothing. Well, DW, they saying stuff. Watch this. This is their official news. They say that Ukraine failed to destroy the planes. Ukraine sentences exiled Zelensky, a critic, to 15 years in jail, in prison. You ain't seeing Putin ain't saying much more. And said what he had to say. His news station will cover what he had to say. He said this yesterday: illegitimate Kiev regime turned into terrorist organization. And that was a part of the justification of what's coming next, because he framed them as terrorists. And make sure I'm not lying to you. This is the 4th. This was yesterday, June 4th. Illegitimate Kiev regime turning into terrorist organization. Putin. The latest terror attacks carried out by Ukraine and Russia are outcome decisions made by political leadership, the president has said. are the outcome of decisions made by political leadership. Ukraine ain't got no damn political leadership. Do they have him actually talking with a translation? So the point I'm making to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, is this man right here, about to put it on their behind. Yeah. He gonna put it on their buttocks. And here's what's gonna happen next. When he decides to start putting it on their behind, the media is gonna turn him into the bad guy. Yep, the media gonna turn him into the bad guy. And we're gonna have two different kind of crises going on. You're gonna have the crisis of this battle, the battle of pride going on with these two, while simultaneously you're dealing with this battle of the war, potential World War III hanging over your head, with the media on this back end of it. This will be the media here. Matter of fact, let me just grab somebody in the media so I can remember this for later. There go my judges. There go the Democrat war. Mainstream media demons. Let me see if I can take this whole thing. No, that's just a frame. Anyway, you'll have this group right here, the media, taking full advantage of it to try and brainwash the American people. Now, when you think about the battle, this is actually a stupid war. Now, let me address the Epstein things where they said, well, Donald Trump was in the Epstein files. I don't know if Donald Trump was in the Epstein files. Quite frankly, I don't know. Could he be? Yeah. Would it make sense why they never came out? Oh, that would make all the sense in the world. But the thing about pride is this. And I don't know if you ever had somebody around you that has like that level of pride. These men have pride of life. They have a reason to be prideful, right? Elon Musk has a reason to be prideful. He's a powerful man. Donald Trump has a reason to be prideful. He's a powerful man. I've had men around me who have pride, but there's no reason for them to be proud. And so but that type of pride is nuclear in and above this type of pride, the pride of life. Because the thing about the pride of life is it gets to a point to where you're like, all right, I don't want to do too much damage to my brand, so my pride tempers it. And I'm saying this to say that there's a chance that this whole entire thing calms down because it is the pride of life, as the Bible says. It's not just pride, flat out pride. You know what I'm saying? Like, flat out pride it's two different types. Flat out pride is I'm just proud and I have a spirit of pride. I have nothing to justify the fact that I'm pride, my arrogance. I've done nothing. I've accomplished nothing. I've achieved nothing. I'm nobody, but I got this pride in me. And you can't tell me nothing. I'm not bending. I'm not moving. None of that, right? They're both forms of pride. One is even more deadly, right? This one, there's a chance that they may talk it out. There's a chance. But the damage that's been done thus far is horrific. All right, getting back to what I was saying. So we'll have the media jump in on the back end of this, and the media is going to try and bloody the water. So we have two attacks. And then this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. And this is in line with what we've been talking about, this new psychological operation that's designed to destroy America. This thing here that just happened only makes this even more, adds more weight to this. The next thing that we see is, and I'm going to make a statement, and you may not like the statement, but it needs to be said. The soft underbelly of America, which we have, it's not that we exposed our soft underbelly. We've grown the size of our soft underbelly. And because we've grown the size of the soft underbelly through wokeism, and secularism, or being a secular nation, we don't see attacks for what they are. And it's obvious that we don't see attacks for what they are. Right now, let's go back. We know what's going on in London and in the UK. We know that the expansion of Islam, they like to target the creme de la creme. They want to gain control of the capital cities. It's kind of like the war with Salah ad-Din trying to take over Jerusalem, right? They want the symbolic capital of that civilization. So in London, you have Sadiq Khan, who's become
of my heart. Thank you, London.
Mayor of London.
London. Khan killed London.
Can you please?
It's the honour of my life to serve the city that I love, and I'm beyond humbled right now. I want to express my deep gratitude to my fellow Londoners.
I don't want to listen to him. The point I'm making is you had Sadiq Khan take over London, and here you go with this gentleman, Zoran Mardin's, who's getting ready to target New York City. And I'm going to tell you symbolically what it means when the Big Apple has been taken over and is under leadership of a Muslim. It means that your political infrastructure has been conquered. And in order for him to get the amount of votes that he would need to get in there, again, it's going to be a combination of this triad that's going to get him there. It's going to be this Islamic influence, this LGBT community, and it's going to be this woke community that will go and vote for him. It's pretty much the same community that voted for Eric Adams. The same community that turned on Eric Adams, right? But why New York? Why is New York so important? Because New York, the mayor of New York is a hot seat to governor of New York, which is a hot seat to the president of the United States of America. You can actually go from mayor of New York to the president of the United States of America with it on your resume. And I don't think people understand how close America is to being taken completely over by this dastardly, bastardized union right here that I've been talking about. I don't think people understand how close we are. So, I mean, and it makes it even more agitating to me, aggravating to me, to see these two acting like prideful clowns right now, arguing and fighting, when the enemy is literally at the gate. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate both of them. Elon buying Twitter, Elon Doge, Elon paying the price with people blowing up his damn Tesla facilities, standing up for America, right? I ain't gonna say nothing bad about both of them, either one of them. Donald sacrificing his blood and his fortune. I'm not here to attack either one of the men. And the greatest mistake that the MAGA movement could actually make is to attack Elon, because all you're doing is pouring gasoline on the fire. The best thing would have been everybody should have told him, hey, Elon, you and Trump need to talk. Grow up. Y'all talk. The pressure should be, hey, y'all need to sit down and work this out. But pride is in the middle of it. And so pride is going to divide. It's going to destroy. But the right way to handle it is, hey, listen, we appreciate what both of y'all contributed, but y'all got to stop this bullshit. Both of y'all got to stop the bullshit. Well, I don't give a shit what he said. Y'all got to stop. But how do you tell that to the two most powerful men in the world? Nobody can tell the two most powerful men in the world that, which is why it leads to destruction. So just prepare yourself for the destruction. Back to this. So now we have this guy right here. In fact, the only individual in the universe that can talk to them too is the Lord himself. So if you want to know what to do, go and pray to the Lord and say, Lord, these two clowns need to sit down with this foolishness. This is the guy. Excuse me. This is the guy. And this is the reason why we must be aware of this attack on America.
Why wouldn't President Trump target you and, by extension, target New Yorkers? You have 1 minute.
President Trump will target whomever is the next mayor of the city. President Trump even targeted his, in many ways, accomplice, Mayor Eric Adams, who has collaborated with the Trump administration at almost every opportunity. And still, in the midst of that collaboration, we saw that New Yorkers are being taken off the streets in their apartment building lobbies. We have $80 million being taken out of our city bank account. So I don't think there's any question that there's any mayor here that will be free from being attacked by Donald Trump. What's more important, however, is that we have a mayor who will actually fight back. And that's what I will do. I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And the difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo is that my campaign is not funded by the very billionaires who put Donald Trump in D.C. I don't have to pick up the phone from Bill Ackman or Ken Langone. I have to pick up the phone for the more than 20,000 New Yorkers who contributed an average donation of about $80 to break fundraising records and put our campaign in second place.
Okay,
Mr.
Mr. Mamdani,
Cuomo.
okay, Mr. Cuomo, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, please. Mr. Mamdani is very good on Twitter and with videos, but he actually produces nothing for him to accuse me of lying. He also called President Obama a liar and said President Obama was evil. So take everything with a grain of salt. Donald Trump would go through Mr. Mamdani like a hot knife through butter. He's been in government 27 minutes. He passed 3 bills. That's all he's done. He has no experience with Washington, no experience in New York City. He would be Trump's delight.
All right, brief response, Mr. Mamdani, then we have to move on.
Look, it's true that I don't have experience with corrupt Trump billionaires who are funding my campaign. I don't have experience with party politics and insider consultants. I do have experience, however, with winning $450 million in debt relief for thousands of working class taxi drivers and actually delivering it to the working class people.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Lander?
You have to forgive me. I have to unmute because I don't want you guys to get the double audio. And so I want you to pay attention to this because this is going to be a bellwether as to where we're headed in the United States of America. I mean, it's going to be a huge bellwether. You have an admitted progressive socialist Muslim running for the mayor of New York against Andrew Cuomo, which I'll tell you, I know Andrew Cuomo is not that damn good, but I take Andrew Cuomo over him any day of the week. But when you start talking about the coalition that's been put in place to support this, there's a chance that that guy might get through. And I'm telling you, once that happens, if we don't stop this, it will happen. Once one of the major cities is taken over, you're going to watch all hell break loose the exact same way you saw all hell break loose in London. The exact same way. Because now, governmentally, laws will be instituted to where, man, next thing I'm going to cover. Breitbart, overstayed migrant explains Islamic motivation for attacking Americans. You got to understand you got to listen to this. Overstay migrant explains Islamic motivation for attacking Americans. They do such a horrible job of explaining this. So this is a migrant who overstayed his visa, explains the motivation. But they do such a horrible job of like actually freaking full on writing headlines. I don't know why they do that.
الله أكبر من كل شيء، الله أكبر من الصهاينة، الله أكبر من أمريكا وأسلحتها، الله أكبر من طائرات الF-35، الله أكبر مما هو دونه. فلما نخشى ما دونه ولا نخشى الله. لو قلت لمراتي ولا ابني كل يوم نفس الحاجة يعملها وما عملهاش أنا هتضايق هزعل. يمكن أطلقها، يمكن أطلب ابني من البيت. فما بالنا الله يقول لنا كل يوم عشرات المرات الله أكبر لا تنسوا الله أكبر لا تنسوا الله أكبر من كل شيء. لا صهاينة ولا أمريكا ولا بريطانيا وفرنسا وألمانيا، الله أحق أن نخشاه، الله أحق أن نخشاه. أمي زوجتي أولادي إخوتي أشهد أن الله ورسوله يدعو في سبيل الله أحب إلي منكم.
So let's be clear. Their concept and idea is that Allah is greater than America and that Allah is greater than the Zionists. And it's really that simple. You think these people came here just because they want a better life? No, they came to prove that their God is greater. That's what they came to prove. And so when we start talking about the concept of targeting major cities like London and New York, and these are, I just picked the major cities. There's plenty of cities that have been taken over. When we start putting it in the context as to what their targets are, their purpose is to prove that their God is greater. And by taking over your biggest, most historic city, it's a sign that their God is greater. And the problem we have is we weak. Like, it's not called Mike Soft Lemonade. We Mike Soft Lemonade for real. As a nation, we weak. And we've been weakened by pretty much the people inside of our nation, our own nation. One of my comments, somebody was saying, well, man, we don't have anybody to fear but the government. No, you got a whole bunch of shit to fear. You got a whole bunch of stuff to fear. You got a whole bunch to be concerned about. Now, I ain't going to tell you to run around and be afraid, but I'm just telling you, you got a lot that you need to consider. We as a nation have a lot that we need to consider. And this dumb shit right here that's going on, this ain't helping nothing. It's not helping nothing. That little spat, or that, it's really not spat, it's nuclear war in political terms. That ain't helping nothing, ain't helping nobody. That's going to demoralize people, because you got to understand, people are so invested in Donald Trump and so invested in Elon Musk that in many ways those guys have become like a godly figure to them, because that's where their hope is. Their hope for the nation is anchored in these men. Your hope should be anchored in the Lord. To be clear with you, I get people all the time like, man, you a MAGA Kool-Aid person. I'd be like, man, stop being racist. Well, that's not racist. Oh, you saying because I'm black, I just got to be Kool-Aid? How come it couldn't be MAGA wine or MAGA beer or MAGA champagne? Why, it's got to be Kool-Aid. That's just me playing around. But the point I'm making is my hope is not anchored in men. My hope is anchored in the Lord. But there's a lot of people whose hope is anchored in men. And men will fail you. The Lord won't. That's why it's such a dangerous thing, because of the demoralization that people will go through. There's a saying, never stop your enemy when he's making a mistake. And you're going to realize this. The Republicans don't do it well. The Democrats do it real well. And then when you really think about yesterday's news, was Jean-Pierre came out and backstabbed, what's his name? Joe Biden in the back, right? This is just gave them the biggest pass in the world by taking up the whole news cycle. I mean, the news cycle yesterday was, Jean-Pierre, the spokeswoman for whatever her name, the one that looked like the Garbage Pail Kid, the black Cabbage Patch Kid. She came out and literally said she left the Democratic Party and stabbed him in the back and said, I don't know what the hell wrong with Joe. That if that story would have been allowed to play out for the whole news cycle this week, it would have been a victory. And I'm going to go further and tell you something. The Democrats have not won a news cycle, a weekly news cycle, since Donald Trump was elected, but they're about to win this week's news cycle without doing anything. They have not won a weekly news cycle. For those of you guys who don't know what I mean, that's from Sunday morning till Friday night. They have not won a news cycle. You can't go back and point to 1 week in the news where they had a successful cycle. And the first successful news cycle they're going to get is because of Pride, and on the 5th day of Pride Month. Even the Pride Month cycle was going bad. All over the place. Companies were changing their logos. The NFL had to come out and say something to try and bolster it up. But overall, the whole Pride thing was dying. But these two have been hit with a spirit of pride. Yep. Hit with a spirit of pride. A mega dose. I'm talking about a planetary sized spirit of pride had to land for this type of foolishness to happen. And it's a dangerous thing. That's all I got to say. Now, yeah, I'm done.